Well, welcome to the Pro Brick exclusive YouTube channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. I don't practice as a theologian anymore or a minister. I heard the call go off my life and I had the sense not to push it and to give it up. So I've got decades of theoretical and personal life experience with people in ministry and etc. And I want to share some of those experiences to help people in life. Now, what do you do when there's a group of people that are working against you behind your back? What do you do? There's two things you do. First thing is the first thing you got to do is identify that what you're thinking is not delusional. You can't be delusional about these things. And these people working behind your back, they're actually working behind your back against your relationship. Now, you don't want to be cruel to people, you don't want to be harmful to people, you don't want to set mothers against their children, you don't want to interfere in any of that because you're just a boyfriend or whatever you think you are. You're not. I'll tell you one thing right now, you're not as valuable as you think you are. You've got to realize this. So you need to have forethought, inside thought, outside thought. You need to be thinking in all the different directions and ways in which this world and the people in it can make your relationship work against you. I've had people find out who my girlfriend's going to be and gone round to their place to try and destroy it before it's even started. That's how serious Satan can be about wrecking love in your life, and he's very determined about it, and he will do it if he can. He'll wreck love. That's what he does. So you've seen these people manifest against you. You're not overly concerned. What you are concerned about is how are we going to bring this to a resolve? Well, some people, let me just say to you, are not going to resolve. It's as simple as that. There's some people in life that just do not want resolve. Now, I've never been in a situation in my whole life where I've had a partner who hasn't spoken up and said, this person's my man, to their children, and said, pull your shitty little heads in and take it or leave it or get out. But I have now, and I've seen where it ends up, and I'm not being critical. I've just seen the psychology, how it didn't work, and luckily enough I had the life experience to realise, hang on a sec, there's no stand being made here. This might not be as favourable as you think. And sure enough, looking at the big picture of it, it wasn't. Sometimes we've just got to accept that things aren't going to go the way we would like. Doesn't mean we have to continue in it. Doesn't mean the other person's a bad person, and it doesn't mean either that we have to be silent about it. There's a lot of people out there that are ignorant. They're running on their loyalty and devotion, and they're allowing it to blind them from the life that they should be living now. And I can't understand why people go into relationships, or where their thinking is, when they're doing stuff that's going to work against it, where they're not fixing things that are going to be in favor of it. Like, how ignorant do some people think other people are? Some people have got no self-awareness of themselves, although they're cunning in the way in which they get around. If they're drug addicts, and functioning drug addicts and alcos and things, they're cunning. They think things out before they go and drive their car or go to work or whatever they're going to do on their habit. But they're not so cunning when they come to the place of the person that they're closest to, unless that person's a fellow addict. Now, one could be a pot smoker, one could like alcohol, the other one could be medicated on tablets. One could be both. But what you'll find is those people will seem to get along fine because they can rebound their habits off each other. They'll just rebound their habits. He's got his, I've got mine. We don't need to resolve anything. Just give me a fix. And what I've found is these people, right? I'm not judging anyone, I'm just saying, and I've got every right to say, trying to help people. You'll find these people that use drugs as an avoidant, as a form of denial, as a way of escape from things that might take a bit of mental muscle. They ain't going to change. You can come into their life and have all the resolve skills in the world. You could have spent your whole life trying to resolve things and making sure, you know, everything's going to be all right, and this is how you deal with that, and that deals with this. If you go into a place where there's a little NARC, and you'll know by the age of 7 if somebody's going to be a NARC or not. These pedestalized young males, and they're not so young either. Some are fucking 25, 30, 35, 40, right up to 60. They're so pedestalized, they don't give a shit who they're rude to. They don't give a fuck who they offend, and they think people aren't going to notice it. That's why you move away. Get away. Now, if you're in a situation where you've got a partner and her little narc fucking children are pedestalized by her, therefore she can't dethrone this person or she's going to look like a hypocrite. You've got to understand this. That's why they won't get anything in order. They've pedestalized these people to be that way. It's the mother that's formed, domestically formed, these young adult males to be the way they are. Grubs. And you'll know they're grubs by the way in which they live. I tell you what, let's get down to some meat and potatoes, you guys that think you're alpha and all this sort of crap and rubbish. You're not alpha if you're on drugs or drink alcohol. You're not alpha at all. You're a grub. You're a drug addict grub. You can't function without your alcohol or your drugs. You don't know what that means, and it goes for you women too. I've figured this one out. You're just as much a dirty grub. You can't fix anything. You don't try and solve anything. You just sit there, sit on your drugs like a fucking sloth on a branch. And what does all this mean? It means that some of these people work in teams. They team themselves up to make sure they got their supply. You fuck with their supply and watch what happens in the house. I remember one of the girlfriends I had, they were running out of supply of their dope, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching it. And you could see the atmosphere in the house deteriorating. One of the little dependent young adult males in this group wasn't financially fucking... This is what I mean. These people have got no money and they'll spend it on drugs, or the mother will supply the drugs. And oh mate, it's fucking disgusting. And so you're trying to have a relationship with the mother and you're watching all this and you're just going, oh well, that's their business, we'll see what happens here. And next thing, the little grubs that are so dependent on their mummy, these are adults, don't want you around because you're not part of the culture. But she wants you around because you're strong and you're supplying dick and emotional fucking stability. But you ain't gonna overcome where they're at. You ain't gonna outsmart or outwork the domestic culture of those people. She'll try and condition you so that you wait out there till she's ready to have your company. And she'll go be a dope fucking head or an alcoholic with a clan, her offspring, and then come back to you when she's ready for sex and company and all that crap. And some of you guys will tolerate that. I tried to tolerate it, but they hang themselves in the end anyway. They're hopeless. Then you've got these narcs in the background trying to wreck everything, and then you watch the poor woman trying to navigate all this. so fucking stupid and sad. Oh God, there's such a better way. But the drugs are what count. They got to get back to their drugs. A lot of these drug people will come out of their house to get the sex if they got a good supply, and I am a fucking good supply. Let's get that straight. And then they'll sliver back to their habits in their cave with their offspring, because they've domestically taught their offspring to be like they are, drug dependent. Now, are these people bad? Yeah, I'd say, yeah, to some extent they fucking are, because I've seen how it all works. They're harmful, they harm themselves, they've got no consideration for fucking physical or mental health, because they're fucking with their brains and they hardly exercise. They're critical, they're paranoid, they're cynical, they're sarcastic, they try and make fun of people, they're covert emotionally enmeshed with their fucking parents and children, and sometimes the children are even the parent. Sorry. That's just how it is. Now, people don't want to hear it. Of course they don't want to hear it, because this is how a lot of people live. And it's, you know, you ain't gonna get anything productive out of these ones. They've got nothing. They don't want anything. They just want their drug. They'll get banged and smashed and kicked to the curb. They're not aware. They're not self-aware. They're definitely not aware of where you're at. You can just agree with everything they want to try and do to keep the peace. They got no idea where you're at. When you kick them to the curb, they stand there and go, oh, I thought everything was all right. They haven't listened to what you've said. They haven't tried to fix what you've asked them to fix. And now they're standing there like they're some kind of a fucking perpetual victim. They're not a victim. Not as far as your contribution. They're a victim of their own demise. Oh, but you don't want to say that. You can't. Don't make them look in the mirror. Oh, fuck, that somebody might get scared. They are totally self-unaware. They've got no idea of themselves. They're so ignorant. And yet they'll sit there and judge everybody else. It's called evil, viewers. Covert narcissism. Just covert nastiness. They'll smash you behind your back. They'll work on the girl, the mother. You know, no. She ends up taking more drugs and shit because there's shit going on. Oh, I can imagine what happened. And in the end, it's better to just let it go. Let these people go. There was no peace. There was always this dark spiritual oppression. What happens when you get mixed up with these ones? They don't care. They got a spirit of death on them. Death's just waiting to cash in on all their damage and harm that they've done to themselves. They can't influence you because you're too strong. You don't attach. You're just providing your obligations to what you've committed yourself to, watching these people self-fucking destruct. Let the wicked forsake his way, the unrighteous man his thoughts. The unrighteous person their thoughts. And let them return to the Lord and to our God, and he will abundantly pardon you. I've broken up with these girls and they haven't had a fucking clue why. Some of them will fight a bit and you can try and sort shit out. Others just disappear. Others will blame you for their children's fucking shitty little evil, snotty-nosed, fucking pedestalized, ego-driven behaviour. And you're standing there and you're going, are you really that fucking far removed from reality? Are you so maternally fucking blind that you can't tell? You know, and then you see him fucking 6 months, 12 months later at the psychologist's with this kid, with the son, getting treatment. Well, any fucking wonder, like, why do you think I bailed out? Do you think I'm fucking stupid? You know, these people just they cannot see into the future. They're living for the present moment. They really don't care how you feel or what's going on, because they're not in touch with how you feel or what's going on. You're just got to perform. And believe me, if you don't perform, they'll get supply somewhere else, even if it's low-hanging fruit, even if it's worse. That's what they do. I don't care. I tell you too, especially if they've been with someone that's on their game, they're going to not do that again. They'll just settle for anything after that. Frightens the shit out of them. Oh, I never got away with him. He was onto everything, that bloke. Absolutely everything. Their children will despise you. Their children will work against you. And eventually these people will tire out and just go back to their little hidey hole. The one they've created, where they've fucked everything up and everyone up. And they're all just fucking nasty. Feeding on each other's nastiness and sarcasm and thinking it's all funny. No. Oh no. Not while there's people trying to, you know, be the best they can. No. No. You can't save them. I've given some of these people 3 and 4 goes and they just can't figure themselves out, and they'll blame you and everybody fucking else and all this and that. In the end, I just agree. Oh yeah, well, yeah. And then you'll ring up and go, you know, this ain't sitting real well with me. Well, why didn't you fix it? Holy fuck. Yeah, it might be time for you to go. So, this is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, on the new Pro Ricky exclusive YouTube channel. Bye for now.